His fortune selling groundbreaking antivirus software and has subsequently cultivated a reputation for irreverence and lawbreaking, is running for president. However, he's doing it from a boat because he's also running from the government. Newsweek reports the antivirus pioneer began tweeting messages to his supporters from what he described as a yacht of a crypto friend. He explained that his presidential bid for the White House in 2020, which he announced in the summer of 2018, had taken to the water as he avoids the IRS. McAfee openly admits he has not paid taxes in 8 years and tweeted to his followers as he took to the seas, claiming that the IRS had sought to silence him. In response to Newsweek's questions about the truthfulness of McAfee's claims about the IRS investigation, a spokesperson said they were unable to comment on the relationship of any taxpayer or any taxpaying entity with the Revenue Service because it contravened federal tax law. Some of his recent tweets indicate he is in the Bahamas. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective at theconsciousresistance.com. You can have your business featured on the Liberty Beat. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting for this Thursday, January 24th, 2019, reminding you to spread liberty with a smile.
With job numbers near historic lows, Forbes magazine has released a list of tips for finding a job, all of which involve witnessing an employer murder someone. Forbes says despite the grim economy, employers are still hungry for talented workers who know how important it is to forget about whatever they think they saw or heard.
So me and a couple of friends were out smoking at the Viaduct the other day, and we saw this really rich guy in a Mercedes pull up in his car and drop nothing. Now I'm the Vice President of International Development.
According to Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein, we had a great quarter and hired hundreds of new employees. I haven't done anything wrong, and all my employees will tell you the same thing because that's the deal we had. But the article warns that stumbling onto a coke-fueled CEO strangling a prostitute isn't a foolproof method for finding work because employers are just as likely to murder you as they are to hire you.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm going to start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say!
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our Bit Plus Network satellite.
This is
The Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
That's right. Welcome to the Call to Freedom here today. Not even sure what today's date is. January the 25th, actually. And we have interesting news that just came out within the last hour. I'm joined in the studio today, of course, by Michael Hampton. How are you doing today?
I am very good, Aria. How are you?
I'm sick, but I'm alive, so.
It's always good to be alive.
Yeah. Apparently, the government shutdown that wasn't really a shutdown. It was more just they stopped paying some people.
The partial government shutdown.
Yeah.
Did you hear the scare quotes there?
It has ended with Trump temporarily backing down on his wall and agreeing to fund the government until February the 15th, which is really only about 3 weeks away, isn't it?
That's 3 weeks away, but the thing about that is that it's going to relieve a whole lot of the pressure with the 800,000 whatever government employees potentially going on strike or quitting their jobs or whatever. The pressure is just getting to be too much. I mean, they...
Well, I mean, this is only their second missed paycheck.
Right, but you had air traffic controllers calling out sick today. The flights were delayed into LaGuardia. They had to cancel some flights in Philly. I read a few other stories along those lines. It was starting to get bad in just the aviation sector.
I don't have an issue with that, really. I mean, it sucks for the people.
Yeah, it sucks for the government employees, but I'm just thinking about the poor people taking those flights that are stuck in the long security lines and their plane is holding in the air for an extra hour and a half because there's not enough controllers to handle the traffic.
Well, I mean, that's classic government right there, is breaking our legs and handing us a crutch.
Yeah, and my whole thing is air traffic control does not need to be government run anyway.
No, of course not. But, the government has to get its hands into everything, including healthcare, which, I really think that the left should be more concerned about what the consequences of state-run healthcare might actually be when we have the government shutting down quite regularly. I don't know historically what a typical period is from one government shutdown to another, but there have been at least like 3.
Well, they happen all the time. Years. They just don't usually interrupt people's paychecks.
Yeah, this one was unusually long. Kudos to Trump on that. You almost brought down the government. I was looking forward to the collapse of the American empire. Now I have to wait until it self-destructs of its own accord.
Yeah, well, we'll start this all over February 15th, and maybe next time it'll happen.
We will, because I don't think there is any chance that this crybaby is going to get his wall.
Trump? No, he's not getting a wall.
I like the idea that suggests, though, that...
Unless it's Legos.
Yeah. That we just tell him we built the wall. Or, even better, he could just tell his fans that he built a wall. Because let's be realistic, they're fans.
Yeah.
He could just say, hey, we built the wall, it's done, and Mexico paid for it. And they would believe it. Yeah. It wouldn't matter if CNN was like, oh, by the way, there's no wall here. Here's videos of the border and the lack of a wall.
You can get a Hollywood film crew to fake the wall building.
Yeah, there we go. It's perfect. Like we faked the moon landing.
Right.
We didn't fake the moon landing. So it's just fun to say.
Well, that's what they want you to think.
Yeah, but the agency that wants me to think that isn't funded, so I guess I have to give up my free thought again if the government is opening.
Well, yeah. No,
so
let's not.
Who funded NASA's program to convince us that the Earth is round when it's actually flat while the government was shut down? Who funded that?
I'm not sure. I think there was I'm not sure.
The Illuminati?
I know.
It had to be.
I know. I saw something on Facebook about the lunar eclipse, about how the flat Earth was casting a shadow on the lunar eclipse.
Yeah, I saw that. You could see just a little line.
Yeah, a little strip.
It was a neat
with
visual.
a turtle underneath it.
Yeah. I saw the turtle. So that's enough idiocy. Well, it's nowhere near enough idiocy because
hey, I'm on the show. So
the House and Senate are expected to quickly pass legislation to reopen the government through February the 15th. They're also expected to hold a conference committee on a Department of Homeland Security spending bill, which, by the way, was one of the departments not getting paid, including the Border Patrol agents.
Right.
I love it. So in his desire for a wall, he stops paying the border agents that were supposed to
be, the border agents that are supposed to be rounding up Mexicans and sending them back, right?
No border security plan can ever work without a physical barrier. Just doesn't happen, Trump said. You are certifiably incorrect. It happens all over the United States. You have property lines that do not have fences, and they work rather well. Just by, of course, that's actual property that's actually owned by a person and not this fictitious government coming in and saying, oh, we own everything that you don't own.
Right.
And we also own what you own, but let's not get into that technicality.
We'll let you use it until we want it. Then we'll come and take it.
Yeah. And as long as you pay your rent.
Property tax.
Yeah,
well,
we'll let you
rent.
have it.
Same thing. You know, on that note, I read another news story today. I didn't actually post it anywhere, but El Chapo, who the big drug kingpin from Mexico, is on trial, and one of the witnesses apparently during his trial today was saying how they don't care about a border wall because that's not how they smuggle in drugs, not in any quantity. And they don't care about tunnels either. They just stick it in cars and tractor trailers, and that's how they send it through.
Interesting. Well, I think I don't think that drug dealers really have a hard time getting drugs into the United States.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. What they seize is just a little tiny portion of what's coming in.
Yeah, and realistically, I think that if the border control people actually were successful in controlling the border and keeping out the drugs and rapists and all of that, I think the CIA would just start importing them for us.
Right. There's secret flights.
Yeah. I mean, they've done
Air
it before.
America. Yeah.
But Trump, for some unknown reason, expects that Democrats and Republicans will operate in good faith. This is an opportunity for all parties to work together for the benefit of our whole beautiful, wonderful nation. Oh.
Oh. Well, he's all full of love and light, isn't he?
The president's remarks came as Republicans were increasingly being blamed for the shutdown and the growing number of effects it was having on federal workers and the public. I don't think there were really that many effects on the public. I did like...
Not too many, unless you were flying somewhere.
That's true. That's true. It certainly did affect flying. I don't fly, though.
I try to avoid it.
I particularly enjoyed Trump's argument that, you know, they could just borrow food from the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how this works, right? You just go to Walmart and be like, oh, I'm a federal employee. I'll pay you one day. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool.
I'll pay you in a month or two. Yeah. Maybe that's how Trump buys his groceries, but not the rest of us.
Well, Trump has a person for that. So
right.
I don't think he's ever bought groceries in his life.
Possibly not.
That's kind of sad. And, you know,
he might not even know how it works.
Reports earlier today indicated that he is somewhat aware of that, how out of touch he actually is with the average person. And I think that's good for him to know. I think it would be better if he was less out of touch with the average person, but it is Donald Trump, so you take what you can get. Really.
Well, he's not the only one who's out of touch. That brought up something that happened back in like the late 80s, early 90s. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But was George H.W. Bush. When we get
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
All experts agreed this week that the dying U.S. economy is no reason at all to stop investing in print media, calling the newspaper and magazine industry a veritable cash cow with massive potential for growth. Top experts everywhere said that aggressive investment in print media will pay off in spades, and that newsprint is in no way threatened by internet news sites or online video content. Besides, everyone in the know agreed, loyal readers of newspapers would never, ever in a million years turn their back on the trusted print media industry that has always been there for them in good times and bad.
This is the Onion News Network.
It's the Onion Radio News. I'm Doyle Redland. Cardiologists announced today that test subjects who took a single aspirin tablet followed by a fifth of bonded Kentucky bourbon were 85% less likely to realize they were having a heart attack. Potential side effects for the new treatment include slurred speech, impaired vision, and vomiting. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting as always from the Liberty Radio Network studio here located on LRN.FM. I'm used to saying Horizon.global, so I have to find a better way to say it.
Yeah, we'll have to drop that at least until they start paying the bill again.
I don't think they have any intention of doing so, but we may have a new VPN sponsor, so that would be really cool. Speaking on the shutdown, generally, it's good news for the 800,000 parasites that we have sucking our blood.
Well, yeah, that's true. They'll get paid.
It's bad news for everyone else.
Yeah, the federal government just does way too much that it's not supposed to be doing. And even, I think it shouldn't be doing anything or even exist, but even certainly a small government type should refamiliarize yourself with the 9th and 10th Amendments. The federal government was only supposed to be doing few and defined things, and instead it is ballooned into this ridiculous bumbling.
Oh, it's a behemoth.
Behemoth, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. That is just. I hear conservatives talk about things that are constitutional, and there's very little the federal government does these days that's constitutional. It blew the Constitution out of the water long ago. That ship sailed and sank.
That's what I don't get about the libertarians who say, well, all we need to do is restore the Constitution and we'll be fine. Why do you think that would work? It didn't work last time.
It didn't work the first time. Yeah. Why do you think it's going to work again?
So suddenly, if we strip
no, it would be an improvement, but it's not going to work.
I mean, it would certainly be an improvement, sure, but
long term, it's not going to work.
No, give it a few decades. I mean, because the first time the Constitution didn't actually last that long before it was violated, was it?
Well, Well, here's the thing. The Constitution was kind of a bloodless coup in the first place, because the United States was originally formed by the Articles of Confederation, which was a whole lot looser federation. And about 10, 11 years later, they were going to do some amendments to it because it really didn't give the federal government enough power to do much. There was no taxing authority, anything like that.
Yeah,
so
that was a feature.
Yeah, that was a feature, not a bug. But so they had another convention in 1787, and the Constitution that we know today is what came out of that. And it was kind of, I don't have all the details right off the top of my head, but it was kind of that's not what they expected to be going in there for. And one faction that went in there just presented it.
Yeah.
We're changing this to this Constitution. Vote on it.
I think the issue today that we are really running into is a basic lack of education about government, the role of government, and the nature of the U.S. government. Because I used to use this website called Quora.com, which is a place for people to ask questions and get them answered by people who are knowledgeable about the subject, until shortly after the 2016 election, when it just became absolutely taken over by leftists.
Yeah.
But one of the things I learned from that was, while discussing with people, trying to explain to them that this general election, the popular vote, wasn't a real thing, because it's just 50 individual popular votes that dictate how these states are going to, cast their electoral college votes. That's because we're 50 individual republics.
That was the general idea.
Yeah, adding them all together, it's a neat number, but it doesn't actually mean anything, and that's by design. And
it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to mean much.
And I had people arguing with me and telling me that no, California is not a republic. In particular, that was the example they gave. It's literally got the word Republic of California on its state flag.
I know, right?
It's got the same features. It's got the Senate. It's got the House of Representatives. And none of those are technically actually requirements for a republic, but it's structured exactly the same way as the federal government, just smaller. It is to counties what the federal government is to states.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was the way it was supposed to be.
That's the way it was set up.
But now it's more like the states are wards, and the federal government is the champion of them all. And, of course, that's a result of, I would argue, the Civil War.
The Civil War, yeah. Abe Lincoln put this together, and I don't want to get into the whole states' rights slavery thing, because the Civil War really was about, states' rights and slavery.
Yeah, it's such a... I know, right? But, I mean, we've opened the bag now, so...
Yeah, let's just dump this crap all out.
States' rights was the issue, 100%. But slavery was the reason that states' rights was the issue.
Yeah, now we're getting somewhere.
So it is certainly true that the Civil War and the whole states' rights things was about slavery.
So to get rid of slavery, they also kind of threw out states' rights.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, and what amazes me is that Lincoln executed the only war in American history that resulted in 600,000 American deaths, right?
Right.
And he's praised as the greatest president of all time.
You know why that is?
It's because he won.
Because he won. Well, yeah, because he won, and because he turned the United States into a collection from a collection of, what was it, 23, 24, 26, something...
I don't know the number. States
that were in a federation are suddenly a nation of 26 component, provinces. I mean, that's honestly, that's what the U.S. states have been since the Civil War. Provinces.
Yeah. And they weren't supposed to be. That's why they're called states.
Because the word state, at the time this country was formed, meant country.
Yeah.
The way we use it today.
And it still does the way anarchists use it differently.
It still does the way the rest of the world uses it. So,
Yeah, and
which is why everyone finds America so confusing.
Once upon a time, I was like, look, Mississippi is a state in the same way that Germany is a state, in the same way that France is a state. And we created this entirely new term called the nation state so that we can exercise doublethink and cognitive dissonance and get around the fact that the 50 states of the U.S. are supposed to be just as sovereign and autonomous as Germany.
Right.
And that's my warning for the people in the European Union. You see America today and how Mississippi or New Hampshire or whatever can't really fight the federal government. That's your future.
Yeah, Brussels is they got their centimeter and they're taking their kilometers. So,
Yeah, it's definitely, you're not going to ever gain autonomy by entering into these sorts of agreements. You're only going to lose them. And once you lose it, you have to fight a war to get it back.
Well, and unless you're Britain and you, the EU does have an exit clause, and that's how the UK is getting out, which is, I've got mixed feelings on that, but...
Allegedly getting out.
We'll see how it goes.
Apparently, the Queen has told them to stop bickering and come to an agreement. So it's nice to see the Queen actually doing something besides living off, stolen wealth that her family amassed for the past few generations. We'll be back in a minute.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting as always from our Liberty studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And we've been discussing, we started out by discussing Trump and the shutdown, and of course we carried that into its natural trajectory, which is just kind of how government sucks and shouldn't exist, and how federal governments have taken over the world, and how Brussels is going to do to the
EU,
currently independent states of the European Union what the federal government here in the United States did to the states.
Yeah, well, the EU is kind of coming at it from sort of the opposite direction, because it was the EU as it currently exists has not had the powers of like military defense or
do they not?
Diplomacy or whatever.
Like if Germany
delegated
was invaded?
to it, right? No, they
I say that
the member
like
states still have their own national
feasible.
Militaries.
Okay. Well, technically, don't the individual states here in the U.S. technically? I mean,
they have their national guards, but not.
That's a national.
Yeah,
guard.
that's what they call it. But that each one of them is a state military.
Oh, really? Interesting. I am ignorant about the military beyond the fact that it shouldn't exist.
There's the U.S. There's the U.S. military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard. That's all national, and then there's the National Guard, so-called, which is state level.
Well, speaking of military, something that people have been wanting, I suppose, me to go into for the last several days, and I just kind of refuse to because I don't care.
Well, there are people who do care about this.
There are. My take on it is, oh no, trans people can't murder brown kids for money now. It's the end of the world. And people are like, well, you're letting your antagonism for the military get in the way of this actual discrimination that is going on. Okay, fair enough, but you're letting your social justice mentality get in the way of these actual murders going on, and I think that's a bigger problem.
Now, for those of you who've been living under a rock and don't read the news like we do, it came out today that the Supreme Court has upheld a ban on transgender people in the U.S. military.
Yeah, he did indeed. It was contested, and apparently the Supreme Court has allowed it to happen. There's a really interesting take on this from a professor at Stanford. I don't think we'll really have time to get into it. And again, I don't care. I don't really have any desire to get into it.
Well,
but it's a thing that happened, and it warrants discussion.
Well, I grew up, and I was in my 20s when there was the big thing about having gays in the military.
Yeah.
And
during the era
Clinton
of
had the don't ask, don't tell policy. No, I grew up before that, where you literally did not tell and did not ask, and if someone found out, you were gone. But so I've seen it go from my. Let me start over. My feeling on this is, yeah, it's wrong to discriminate based on someone's sexual orientation or their gender identity or their race or their religion or whatever. But is it really so bad that one group of people is no longer allowed to go kill another group of people?
No, I think it's great. I think that we should follow this train where it's headed and just let white dudes who want to serve in the military. And I think that's critical. The draft obviously has to go under any circumstances. But sure, ban women from serving in the military, ban black people from serving in the military, why do I keep saying burn? Ban trans people, gay people, ban everybody from serving in the military. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah. Well, let's just, if we're going to go that route, let's just not have a military at all. Because all they really do is go and make enemies of people that we weren't enemies with to begin with.
Yeah, and there may even be this whole argument that we need them for national defense. We have a border patrol division of DHS that does this thing to make sure that we're not being invaded by brown people. And I don't think they should exist either. I think that if somebody wants to come to the United States, then we should say, hey, come on in, get a job, be a productive person.
So which United States territory are we, or are they defending over in Yemen or Syria? Or I did not realize that those were part of the U.S. and needed to be defended.
I didn't either. It's strange how our freedoms ended up over there, though.
Right.
While they were actually curtailed and destroyed here at home. But no, the military fights for our freedom.
Oh, yeah, sure they do.
They don't. They fight for our heroin and our McDonald's. And
the oil.
And our
Don't
oil.
forget the oil.
But the ban is being called cruel and irrational. In an unsigned 5-4 order, the justices took no stance on the legality of the ban, first proposed in a surprise tweet by Trump in 2017. But Tuesday's action clears the way for it to take effect while lower courts hear additional arguments. So they didn't actually support it. They just said, we're not weighing in on this right now.
We're not. Yeah. Okay. So it's still got some court battles ahead.
Yeah. The 4 liberal justices objected to allowing the administration's policy banning most trans people from serving in the military to go into effect. Yeah, I don't care. I don't.
I don't see the problem. Like I said, I see the problem, but I don't see a problem.
Yeah, I see why people are upset about it, but I think that they're losing sight of the wrong thing. I mean, the entire idea is that, we will cut out the legs of the military by having no one willing to serve in it. That's going to be the only way that we can actually peacefully revolt against the state.
Here's a secret. You may have figured this out, but some of our listeners may have not. The so-called social justice warriors are not anti-war.
No, I think you're correct. I think they rather like war.
They like war a lot. They just like war against their targets.
Yeah. And I mean, Obama.
So we have to have a military so that we can go, so that Obama can go, or Bernie Sanders or Hillary or whoever gets in 2020 or 2024 can go bomb our social justice enemies wherever they happen to be in the world or in the U.S. maybe.
Yeah, while we're allied with nations who impose ethno-states onto their entire citizenry, actually writing into their constitution that people who are not of their ethnicity are lesser citizens, they're allies with us. And while another ally commits the greatest human rights violation in the world, murders journalists, hacks them into pieces, lies about it, and escapes without consequences.
Right.
Throws gay people, LGBT people off of rooftops.
Only this year started allowing women to drive.
Yeah.
And they still have to wear the veil.
They do.
But,
so those are
the SJWs are not complaining about any of this.
No, they're not.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're too busy getting upset that, some trans person had to pee in a bottle because they couldn't use the women's room. That seems to be what their primary concern is. They don't seem to care about the trans people being raped in
I mean,
than
is
in
it not
women's
actually?
prisons.
Is it about social justice for one group of people, but not those group of people, or what's going on here? If you're a social justice warrior, I want to hear from you.
Yeah, please
if
give
we
us a
actually
call.
have any listening.
Yeah, give us a call at 603-283-6160. We'll be back here in a few minutes.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card, and the sign-up bonus, enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
There's only one place you could have sex without everybody else knowing about it. That's in the bathroom. Unless you want to go back into the crew quarters, which might give you bonus points. The Mile High Club awards you, I suppose, based on the amount of times that you've entered into the club. Not only do you want to be in the club, you want to be the top dog.
Yeah,
right?
you got to be a premier member.
So I would think there'd have to be points for location on the plane, who you encountered with. Were you there with your girlfriend? Did you take her into the bathroom? Did you manage to get a stewardess into the bathroom with you? Did you manage to get the girl that you just happened to be sitting next to on the plane? I mean, so all of these things could be worth.
Oh, man. To be a part of the Mile High Club, what's the criteria?
You have to
copulate in the air.
Yeah.
What defines copulation? Who has to have an orgasm? Does there have to be an orgasm?
Or do you just have to stick it in and pull it out?
Is it just penetration? Bam, bam. We're out of here. Mile High Club, give me my card.
Yeah.
You know?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
All right, Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we've been discussing the government shutdown, the military, and the horrors of the state in general. Or would it be more accurate to say the horrors of the state in general? But we're joined now via telephone by Free Market Penguin, one of our regular listeners over at the Discord line. So go check that out at discord.lrn.fm. How's it going today? Oh, I still have you muted. I'm such a professional.
My favorite Nazi probably tied with the show that comes on after you.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Anyway,
I didn't catch the beginning of that. I had you muted.
Saying hey to my favorite Nazis.
Oh, yeah. We're all Nazis now.
Yeah, everyone's a Nazi.
Yeah. I loved being called a Nazi. I thought it was one, because I knew it was going to happen. I was like, as soon as I start speaking out and dissenting on this drama that's going on, I'm going to get lumped in there and called a Nazi with the rest of them. And sure enough, as soon as it happened, that's what I got.
Oh, sure. If you don't agree with her, you must be a Nazi.
So what did you call it about today? That's the way it goes.
Honestly, enough of that. But I calling in about I'm just going to hit you guys up, thought of a few topics. But what I want to talk about today was I was listening to the last episode that was put out as a podcast, which I think one of our favorite callers, who happens to be a Nazi allegedly, called in and asked about anarchism versus libertarianism.
That would be Rev, correct?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. He's a character.
Yes. So I wanted to basically kind of discuss my take on that. So obviously, oftentimes, on this station, you get the term libertarian thrown around kind of to mean someone who doesn't believe in the use of force, all the way to mean, no coercive state. And obviously, a lot of people define it differently, but, at some point, What are you going to do but take it to its logical extent,
Yeah, that's my take on it, is that the logical conclusion of libertarianism is anarchism.
Right.
And that one cannot be a principled libertarian without being anarchist, without violating some portion of libertarian principles.
Eventually, that's where it leads.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what you have to learn basically is there needs to be, governance, there needs to be an order, but if you're not aware of how order can come about, then I can understand why you don't take that step. You have to learn how can order, and you got to see people, let's do examples of people doing it, so you understand how order comes out. Of course, a lot of people know, and a lot of people don't know the anarchy symbol that everybody's kind of familiar with. I hate when it's kind of drawn like a spray paint, like a slash, whatever, But you just also very orderly drawn anarchy symbols. It's actually the A for anarchy with the circle as an O for order. So it's the emergent order that comes from decentralized human behavior without a coercive state structure.
Yeah. It's supposed to mean order is the mother. No, anarchy is the mother of order.
Right. And emergent order is the best way to put it, because that's what happens.
Yeah, and we see it in the free market in those few places it exists, primarily within the black market these days, because, that's the government, let's be honest about it. They never met a thing that they didn't want to control. And I think the history of humanity is probably pretty accurately expressed as a war between economics and the government. Or, as Rothbard would put it, the political means versus the economic means, the means of predation versus the means of production.
Yeah, I'll buy
and
that.
Yeah, but I think it's really important to look at, when you look at kind of the modern philosophy, it's good to be rooted in the fact that, a wide variety of liberty speakers that are popular today that we're familiar with, are a small sliver of a small sliver of a small sliver of the anarchist thought that has existed over time. And obviously, old thought is to some extent becomes dated, but it's good not to be, just rooted in the modern, podcasters and celebritarians of your time.
Sure.
and realize that anarchist philosophy goes back to as far as and farther than socialist philosophy, and it really was the counterpoint to socialist philosophy, and it was the radical left counterpoint to Marxism when it first came about, and obviously it's gone over many transformations and forms, but I think you can listen to all the podcasts you want about telling you kind of what you already want to hear, but it's best to be historically rooted in anarchy, because if you believe in markets, and obviously not all anarchists do, you're never going to have a situation come about where you encounter where everything goes the way you plan it to do without that coercive element, unless, of course, you're stepping in your own household and making rules.
Yeah, the only way you can end up in a circumstance where everything goes exactly the way you want it to is to not involve any other variable that you don't control, which would certainly include other people.
Right.
And even other non-humans, like cats. They do unpredictable things all the time. And it doesn't matter whether I want them to; they're going to do it.
That's the way cats work.
Yeah, it is. They're natural anarchists all the way. But I do think it's important to draw one's ideological roots from the best sources of information that are available. And for my money, I would say that for anarchists, Rothbard's compilation "Anatomy of the State" is probably the best way to go. I do need
to read that.
I'm sorry?
I said I do need to read that.
It's very good. It's very short, it's very succinct, and it does an excellent job of making the case. I don't listen to Jeffrey Tucker or, honestly, any other libertarian podcasts. It would be a good idea to listen to them and to get ideas from them about how to spread the message of liberty more properly. But there's a lot of tendency when people start doing that to be more concerned with the ideological evolution as sort of a way of measuring penises, like the socialists versus anarchists thing that we have going on today, which is like the anarcho-communists saying that anarcho-capitalists aren't real anarchists because the anarcho-communists had the word first, or whatever.
Well, they didn't actually have the word first, though. I mean, anarchism really wasn't based on anarcho-communism or anarcho-capitalism. I mean, anarchism comes from a kind of a earlier tradition, and
it just means without a state or without a nation. I'd have to look at the exact etymology of the word because I don't have it in front of me.
Always heard it say without rulers.
That's it. Yeah, without rulers.
Without rulers.
But
that's all it means.
If you have something and you don't call it a state, but it has a coercive enough element, it basically fits the definition of a state. And of course,
to an extent,
comes down to
there's a lot to be said about the differences between a leader and a ruler. And I think that here in the West, we've become so accustomed to the state that we consider them to be synonymous.
And they're not. They're not.
No,
rulers are people who think they can control you by force and usually have the guns to do it. Leaders are people that you follow because they have good ideas.
Yeah.
Well, the whole image that's always put forth is like all the dudes pulling the big sled, and the ruler is sitting on top, ordering him to go forward, and then the big, the muscle man, I guess slaves, or not slaves, but the men providing the power, and then the leader is the guy in front of the pack saying "go forward." He's the first one pulling, like the lead dog. And those little dogs from Alaska, what I'm talking about.
Well, that's certainly a valid interpretation as the world as we know it, but that isn't to say that we can't just turn around and shoot the guy riding on the sled and make it significantly lighter.
Well,
I mean, if the idea is that it has to be pulled anyway, and oh God, I'm gonna get Van tonight because I think I just suggested assassinating Donald Trump. I was not suggesting assassinating Donald Trump.
Is Donald Trump sitting on top of a sleigh?
That
with
would be a terrible
it?
idea,
no.
and I do not want anyone to do it.
I thought you were suggesting assassinating Santa Claus.
That would be less likely to get me banned. But thanks for the call. When we'll get back here in a few minutes, we're going to continue on into the crypto hour. Thank you for the good
Good talking to
discussion
you guys,
about
too.
anarchism and voluntarism, which we didn't actually mention by name, but that's, I think, what we ultimately are. What we're
Voluntarism,
getting at.
yeah.
So
Every
we're-
interaction should be voluntary.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for the crypto news here in a few minutes.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your weekend edition of the Liberty Beat for the week ending January 25th, 2019. Gold opened Friday at $1,285, silver opened at $15.37, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,544. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Roger Stone, the politically connected maverick who worked as an informal advisor to Donald Trump's presidential campaign, has been indicted as part of special counsel Robert Mueller's probe. Stone has been indicted on 7 counts in connection with Mueller's investigation, including 1 count of obstruction of an official proceeding, 5 counts of false statements, and 1 count of witness tampering. The Hill reports Stone was arrested in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The indictment was filed in federal court in Washington, D.C. on Thursday and then sealed upon arrest on Friday. According to the indictment, Stone obstructed the investigations by the House Intelligence Committee and the FBI into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Facebook plans to integrate its messaging services on Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger. While all 3 will remain standalone apps, at a much deeper level, there will be links so messages can travel between the different services. Facebook told the BBC it was at the start of a long process. The plan was first reported in the New York Times and is believed to be a personal project of Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. Once complete, the merger would mean that a Facebook user could communicate directly with someone who only has a WhatsApp account. This is currently impossible as the applications have no common core. The New York Times reports the work to merge the 3 elements has already begun and is expected to be complete by the end of 2019 or early next year. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybrainbotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% on your purchase by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for the week ending January 25th, 2019. Find us online at snls.news. Your news now continues. Bayer AG unit Monsanto has asked a California judge in the litigation over its glyphosate-based weed killer, Roundup, allegedly causing cancer, to limit evidence by splitting an upcoming trial into 2 phases, a request previously successful with another judge. Reuters reports that Monsanto, in a previously unreported filing on January 15th, asked California Superior Court Judge Winifred Smith in Oakland to split a March trial by a California couple into 2 phases. Such a step would limit evidence the plaintiffs in the litigation consider crucial to their cases and described as critical to a jury last year, awarding $289 million in a similar case. Under the company's proposal, lawyers for Alva and Alberta Pilliod in the initial trial phase would be barred from introducing evidence that the company allegedly attempted to influence regulators and manipulate public opinion. A hearing on the issue is scheduled for February 8th. A Southern California company is leading the way with a new innovation that makes getting marijuana and CBD products faster and more convenient. Fox 10 in Los Angeles reports that the world's first intelligent cannabis and CBD kiosk, known as Greenbox, is located at Herba Collective and Marina Caregivers dispensaries in Los Angeles. It caters to both recreational and medicinal users. Zach Johnson, CEO of Greenbox Robotics, says he came up with the idea while waiting in a long line at Herba Collective. He and his team spent more than a year developing the fully automated technology. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's easy. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat, online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat for the week ending January 25th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The number of users who actually enjoy Facebook is down to 4, and Apple announces a new iPhone with the N-word on the back, knowing customers will buy it anyway. And now for the delayed and utterly thoughtless romantic gesture that is The Onion Week in Review. Self-identified 9/11 truther Dennis Shaw told reporters Tuesday he's absolutely convinced the United States government has orchestrated an intricate plot to systematically destroy the last 11 years of his life. Shaw, who since 2001 has spent nearly every waking minute poring over footage of the World Trade Center attack and even handing out truther pamphlets every afternoon, says the government is behind the gradual collapse of his personal and professional life, adding that the conspiracy, quote, goes all the way to the top.
Before 2001, I'd see my friend Stephen Copley every couple of weeks, and now he won't even answer my calls. The government got to him too. Think about it. My coworkers, my wife, my friends, everyone calling me crazy after September 11th and wanting nothing to do with me. What are the chances of that?
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting as always from beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. Sorry about that. So crypto is still not doing much of anything. We have a lot of talking heads out there. Someone from, I think it was JP Morgan the other day. I was never able to find it again, but someone from JP Morgan, I think it was, or Goldman Sachs, one of those state-run institutions.
What did they say?
Said that Bitcoin is going to hit $0.
Well, of course. Well,
yeah.
Bitcoin hitting $0. Oh, come on. We all know that's ridiculous. That is not even possible.
No, it's not. But coming from people who aren't absolutely retarded, I'm an advocate of proof of stake. I think it solves a lot of problems that do need to be solved. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's better than proof of work. I think it solves a different set of problems, and that each has their advantages and disadvantages. But a recent study has found that certain proof of stake networks are vulnerable to low-cost attacks. More than 26 proof of stake blockchains could suffer from vulnerabilities called fake stake attacks.
How does this work?
Hopefully the article will explain it. I doubt it. It comes to us from news.bitcoin.com. A team of researchers called Decentralized Systems Labs from UIUC has just released a study that identifies significant weaknesses in certain proof-of-stake networks. According to the students, an attacker with very little or no stake at all can wreak havoc on these types of networks. The researchers say one method of attack essentially causes a victim node to crash by filling up its disk or RAM with bogus data. The students are convinced all proof-of-stake currencies based on the UTXO of Bitcoin and the longest chain model are vulnerable to these fake stake attacks. Very curious.
I definitely want to know more about how that sort of attack works before I could really say much about it. But
well, just about any program will crash if you generate a memory leak.
Yeah, if you feed enough garbage to the computer, eventually it will start vomiting. So
but I'm not.
That's not very technical, but it's true.
Yeah, but it wouldn't actually, call into question the validity of the blockchain. Just one node that crashed and needs to be rebooted.
Yeah, there must be more to it than what they've given us so far.
Certainly. The students highlight 5 cryptocurrencies, none of which have I ever heard of. Emercoin, Particle, Qtum, HTML coin.
What?
And Navcoin, which could all theoretically suffer from a vulnerability called I can't believe it's not stake.
I can't believe it's not stake. And I've never heard of those coins either.
No.
Are we just talking about the
why didn't they get into Blackcoin?
500,000 altcoins down the list that no one's ever heard of that are probably worth the entire blockchain is probably worth 10 cents.
Yeah, I think Blackcoin is probably the most successful proof-of-stake coin out there. It's certainly one of the leaders in the development of proof-of-stake technology. And there was a point during the 2017 boom that they hit 73 cents each, which is really high for a proof-of-stake coin. I got 1,400 black coins. I want it to go up there again. Because these coins have I don't know about Blackcoin, but because of the ones I mentioned, having adopted Bitcoin's block propagation method, a bogus message attack can overload a victim node's RAM. The attacker doesn't need any stake to accomplish this method of attack.
Okay, so it's just denial of service.
It does seem that way. The attacker doesn't even need any... Okay. However, the student's paper notes that RAM version attacks are still particularly trivial. The vulnerability was introduced into these networks when they merged Bitcoin's header first feature into the proof-of-stake version 3 codebase. Another issue with proof-of-stake is a weakness called the spent stake attack, which can allow malicious actors to abuse the validation of a parent stake with the method called stake amplification. They're not explaining this very well.
Yeah, maybe they're not explaining it very well on purpose.
It could be. I mean, it could be that they just don't know the answer to what...
I'm sure there's an actual academic paper that will explain this whole thing in great detail, but they're just not doing very well at it.
To carry out the attack starting from a small amount of stake, an attacker must amplify their amount of apparent stake. For example, even with 0.01% stake in the system, the attacker only needs 5,000 transactions to mine blocks with 50% apparent stake power.
What?
Yeah, I do not understand that. And I get proof of stake. I've studied it, not to the extent that this person probably has, certainly, but I did used to run a website called cryptocurrencycheck.org where I needed to know what I was talking about.
It does sound like they've omitted a few sentences in this article.
Yeah, I don't think the number of transactions really affects your apparent staking power.
Well, maybe the vulnerability is what does it. I don't know.
After the attacker has collected a large amount of apparent stake, he then proceeds to mine proof-of-stake blocks at a past time using the freshly collected apparent stake outputs. Finally, the attacker fills the disk of the victim peer with invalid blocks. I don't get it. There's something here that's critically important that is not being stated, that is not being explained.
All I'm hearing is denial of service.
Yeah. To one, and it sounds like it has to be one user at a time.
To one node.
Yeah, like you've got this issue with this guy and you don't want his stakes to be successful, so you crash his computer, he reboots it, maybe changes his IP address or
lather, rinse, repeat.
DDNS, and
I mean, what? And the thing about attacks like this, if I'm like I said, these descriptions are pretty vague. But if they're anything like I think they probably are, then they can just patch this up in like 10 lines of code, and it'll be no big deal.
Yeah, and if you had, hold on, I think I get where they're going with this. If you had 51% of the stake on the network, then you could fill the blockchain itself with that amount of data and crash every node that is hosting that blockchain.
Right.
So that could certainly be a problem. I'm not sure what.
So if you could fake a node, you could fake one node into thinking you have 51% stake, you could crash that node. Okay, maybe that's where they're going with it.
True, but if all of the nodes out there saw you as having 51%. Then you could do the same thing, but that same issue exists in proof of work.
Right.
You just need to control 51% of it, and you can essentially do whatever you want.
If you control 51% in proof of work, then you can just mine all the coins you want, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's probably true if you control 51% of the stake as well. Just you'd probably have to code it yourself and, do some other shenanigans, but there's no reason you could say, okay, well, I have 10 quadrillion of these coins now.
But here we're talking about, I think the article's talking about someone faking that they have 51% stake.
Yeah, they are. They're talking about apparent staking power, whatever that means, because they were certainly vague about it. And they were certainly vague about how on any of these proof-of-stake coins, one amasses what appears to be apparent stake power that doesn't actually exist. Now, I've staked coins. I'm staking black coin right now because it's just sitting there doing nothing otherwise.
Right.
And I'm not aware of any way to trick the black coin network into thinking that I have more coins than I do. I'm sure somebody capable of coding the wallet could make it do that, but even then the other peers would reject it.
Right.
Because that wallet.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the Crypto Hour. And before we get off into that, I wanted to invite you to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or give us a call via Discord if you want better call quality at discord.lrn.fm. Moving right along from this confusing proof of stake discussion that doesn't make sense to either me or Michael because we don't have the actual research paper in front of us explaining what any of this actually means.
And you don't want to hear a research paper on the radio. You really don't.
No. You might think you do, but you don't.
No, I've read enough of them. You don't.
Also from news.bitcoin.com, a new malware attacks. Oh, God, they need an editor. A new malware attack holds ASIC miners to ransom by threatening to overheat their processors.
Ooh, fun.
According to reports from cybersecurity researchers, there's a new ransomware virus on the loose that's targeting Bitcoin miners. A file locking program called HANT has allegedly infected certain Antminer models in China. And if the ransom is not paid, the software aims to destroy the infected machine.
So the infected miner.
Yeah, so unplug it, Surely you can boot these things into some sort of safe mode. Obviously, they're not running Windows, but they're running some kind of software. Surely it has some sort of safe mode functionality built in, right? You would think.
You would think, but the people that... Here's the thing about developers is that they do the minimum amount of work that they can possibly get away with. So things like robustness and security tend to take a back seat. And that's even true in the cryptocurrency world where you really need this sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Apparently, ransomware creators have found a new target to attack in the form of Bitcoin mining operations, which is good. I noticed last year that the amount of ransomware cases that I dealt with had dropped substantially. And it turned out to be because it was more cost effective and more rewarding for people to infect servers with miners directly and just, do that. And I mean, it was less dangerous to the user. At least it also cost them less money in the end. But ransomware has moved on, and it has evolved, and now they're targeting Bitcoin miners directly. Unlike most traditional ransom attacks, where victims have to obtain coins in order to pay the ransom, victims of the HAT ransomware have cryptocurrencies on hand to pay the malicious attackers. That's the dumbest sentence I've ever read. They still had to obtain the coins.
Yeah, they still have to mine them.
Yeah, they just obtained them before the attack. Like, if a business went out and bought 5 Bitcoins in anticipation of one day being hit by a ransomware attack.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, there was absolutely no reason to write that sentence. What, you get paid by the word or something?
Yeah, that does happen.
It does. The HAT ransomware that specifically targets certain Antminer brand rigs was first discovered by experts back in August 2018, but the malware did not become prevalent until this month. HAT can attack an S9 model, T9, and possibly even L3 Antminer brand Litecoin miners. Okay, so is it attacking Bitcoin or is it attacking Litecoin?
Yeah, well, they're speculating, possibly. I cringe when I hear that in an actual. Have these people ever written news? Did anyone here go to journalism school? What?
I doubt there's very much overlap between cryptocurrency enthusiasts and people who went. I didn't go to journalism school. I've written as a journalist.
Yeah, I didn't either, but that doesn't mean I didn't try to learn the basics of what to do and what not to do. And
yeah, I certainly wouldn't have worded that.
Speculating is what not to do. Well, it's one of the things what not to do. And
well, it makes it sound to me as though the S9 and T9 models mine Litecoin. But I think what they were intending was that the L3 miner mines Litecoin and the other two are Bitcoin miners. They didn't specify that. Yeah, that's part of the problem.
The L3 miner mines Litecoin. What they seem to be speculating on is that the ransomware might be able to attack the Litecoin miner.
Right. There have also been limited reports of Canaan brand Avalon miners that have been infected. The report detailed that once a mining rig is infected with the HAT virus, the device will seize and stop mining cryptocurrencies. Then, if the owner hooks the device to an LCD screen, a matrix-like screen splash will appear and reveal the HAT ransomware note written in both English and Chinese. Oh, this is going to be good. They have the text here. I am HAT, the English version explains. I will continue to attack your Antminer, and as long as you spread the infected machine, my server verifies that there are 10 new IPs and the number of Antminers reaches 1,000. I love it. I will then stop attacking you.
What?
It's pretty standard, I mean, for ransomware notes to be abject nonsense like that. It's supposed to be a threat.
It's supposed to be a threat, but I don't understand what the hell they're talking about.
Well, I will.
10 new IPs and the number of Antminers reaches 1,000. What are you trying to do here?
I don't know.
Are you trying to steal crypto or what?
I can also turn off your Antminer's fan and overheat protection, which will cause you to burn your machine or can burn down the house.
The house?
God.
Okay.
Oh my God, I love this. I need to see the full text of this. Click the download firmware patch button. Yeah, because if you that's definitely what you want to do if hit with a ransomware attack is to download a patch. To download the firmware patch with your specific ID and just update it to your normal Antminer firmware to get infected.
What?
This is part of the ransom note.
Part of the ransom note is they want you to put their firmware on your miner. Okay.
Oh, you can...
What is going on here?
You can bring the machine that updated the patch to another computer room to complete the infection or induce others to use the firmware patch in the network group, or pay 10 Bitcoin and I will stop attacking. So they're saying you can either spread my malware or you can pay me.
Okay, I guess I'm starting to follow. It's just this English. I'm not sure if this English translation is just terrible or what.
Oh, it's absolutely terrible. The Chinese translation may be better. I don't know. I can't read Chinese, and it's written in Chinese characters.
Yes,
100%.
it is.
But I love it. It is pretty standard for cryptocurrency ransomware notes to be just sort of nonsensical like that in broken English, where you have to really understand what the human brain to figure out what in the world they're trying to say, because they don't do English good.
Right.
Well, we'll be back here with more ransomware discussion on the Call to Freedom, so stay tuned.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the Crypto Hour. And before we get into that, I wanted to ask, have you ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them? Bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus? Have you ever wanted to enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork? Then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, produced by several members of the Libertarian Party Audacious Caucus. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone and escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." Don't want to serve and protect? No problem. Neither do cops. So just focus on your promotion by turning people into sources of revenue for your department, ultimately making your way to being chief of police. Shoot someone over a broken taillight and harass peaceful people over arbitrary code violations. You know, typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and batteries not included.
Now, do you get to shoot dogs too?
I would imagine so. If not, that's a glaring oversight.
Yeah, that's something you definitely have to have in a game like that.
I have the card game, but with my schedule, getting down with multiple people all at the same time with none of us doing anything else or having anything else that we need to do, it just doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Like when I leave here, I'm going to go eat and then I'm going to go straight to work until 3 o'clock in the morning. Then I'm going to sleep until 10. Then I'm going to, even here during the breaks, what I'm over here doing is fixing the Call to Freedom website. Because when else am I going to do it?
Yeah. In what time? Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, I could do it at 3:30 in the morning, but at 3:30 in the morning, I'm more likely to be, recovering from having just worked for
exhausted and wanting
11
to
hours.
sleep.
Yeah. Well, not really. I don't generally actually become able to sleep until about 6 in the morning.
And you're getting up at 10?
On some days. I did today because today is Friday, and that means I had to leave the masjid. But luckily, I have a friend over here on Park Avenue, so I just went there. They were at work. They left me their key and all of that. Right. So I just went over there and crashed and watched TV and slept a little bit. Not very well because it's an unfamiliar environment and I'm used to having my cat sleeping on me.
Right.
So it becomes sort of a teddy bear kind of thing where it's hard to sleep without it. So that's really enough about my personal life. This is the Jewish guy that Cantwell blames for how I've changed.
How I've changed? Wait, what? Okay, I admit I really not follow Chris Cantwell very closely. Okay. So
well, let me back up then. There is this Jewish guy that I'm loosely seeing, and during the Twitch feed when we had Chris Cantwell on the show Free Your Talk Live, I said I have a Jewish boyfriend, by the way, which is strictly speaking not true. I do know a Jew and I do have a relationship with a Jew, but boyfriend is not accurate in any sense.
Right.
And well, I don't know. It may be accurate. I don't know. I don't know how relationships evolve and define themselves these days anymore. So who knows? But he then went on his show the following Friday and apparently spent quite a bit of time talking about me. I'm honored. And part of that, he mentioned that, I was really hostile to him when he was on the show, which is totally unrelated to the Jewish thing. And he blamed the Jewish influence on my life for that. And he was like, now it makes perfect sense.
Oh.
You got mixed up with these Jews and they corrupted you.
Oh, so you're hostile to Cantwell because of the Jewish influence in your life. Is that what he's saying? Am I following this right?
That was how it was relayed to me. To be fair, I have not listened to the episode in question because, as we were talking about a moment ago, when am I going to get the time?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't want to hear his show.
Yeah, if I've
the
got 2 hours
subject matter
to
doesn't
kill,
interest me.
It's not going to be listening to Radical Agenda. I did listen to the show that I was actually on of his. A lot of people did. It's generally held as one of his best shows. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to one day doing it again. But I don't just sit and listen. I don't pay any attention whatsoever to him until something happens that warrants me paying attention to him.
Right.
I mean, to me, he's just Chris Cantwell sitting over there doing his show, spreading Nazi crap.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to Nazi crap.
No, and it all may or may not be an act. I noticed that when he was on Quality Assurance with Vincent, which airs, I think, on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. here on LRN.FM.
Are we talking about questioning authority?
That's what I meant. What did I say?
You said
Quality Assurance. Well,
Quality
QA.
Assurance.
Yeah, when I see QA, that's what I think is Quality Assurance. Sorry.
You work too much.
That is awesome.
You need a new job doing something.
So yeah, that's questioning authority, not quality assurance. There is no quality assurance here at LRN.FM.
No, well, there is, but not like that.
But I noticed that Cantwell, he did explicitly condemn the use of violence. He did explicitly state that he didn't want anyone to be killed or attacked. And he strongly implied that the things he says are not sincere and are part of him playing a character. I would have to listen to it again to remember how explicitly this was stated, but I remember hearing it at the time and thinking, well, okay, this confirms what I already suspected, which is that, he's playing a character.
He's just playing a character. Yeah, I guess that could be.
It's a dangerous character, though.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing to play because people, if you say something like that, people will believe you.
They will. If you have thoughts on the subject, give us a call at 603-283-6160. We'd love to get your opinion. That means you, Rev, if you're listening, because God knows you have an opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
But getting back into the crypto news and this terribly worded ransom note, they have detailed that the virus may be derived from an anonymous creator of an overclocking firmware. Mining pools often overclock their machines in order to increase the device's overall hash rate. For example, with custom overclocking firmware, an Antminer S9 that processes 13.5 terahash per second. Holy crap. Because, I've seen the average CPU miner, the X16R miner, it's only going to get 600 hash per second.
Right. This is serious business.
Yeah. With a good graphics card, you can get up into the mega hash range.
Yeah.
But even then, you're not approaching gigahash. You're certainly not approaching terahash.
Terahash, yeah, this is...
And apparently they can overclock that from 13.5 to about 18.
Yeah.
Which is better than what you normally get from overclocking. Generally, you can expect about a 10% performance increase. And that's closer to about a 50%. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a significant boost.
Yeah.
But you get heat with that. As long as you can dissipate the heat...
Yeah.
And not blow something up, then fine.
Don't burn your house down. Not that anybody out there is actually using an ASIC in their house, I don't think.
Maybe there are. But the thing about overclocking, have you overclocked before? Because I have.
Oh, yes.
And
That's what I play is gaming PC, so I'm all over overclocking.
At some point, you've got to increase the voltage, and that increases the heat, and then things start to get unstable at some point, and then you got to back off a little because you don't want to crash in the middle of your...
Yep. Yeah, you have to find the thresholds, and, gamers absolutely find their thresholds using... The lazy ones use overclocking software, but those always err on the safer side than is really necessary.
Right.
Like, you can go into the BIOS that actually overclock your CPU more than you're going to get out of overclocking software. And you shouldn't use overclocking software for that anyway, because then it's software-based, and it's happening actually within the shell that is Windows, and I'm not sure that's actually going to qualify as overclocking or get you any kind of actually increased performance.
Well, they've got it in the BIOS now where they've just got, here, have a 20% overclock, just change this setting and it's all done.
Yeah, it is stupid easy to overclock. And of course, AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards have software that will allow you to, with just a few clicks, void your warranty by overclocking it. Well, we'll be back with more of the crypto and technology news here in just a few minutes.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
A report finds it's not okay to just start talking to people you don't know, and a monstrosity is created in the Frito laboratory. This is the Onion Week in Review. Local newborn Nathan Jameson surprised the world earlier this morning by irrevocably losing all faith in humanity after just 6 days. Though he's not yet developed the capacity for speech, spokespeople for the 6-day-old baby have confirmed he already knows that humans cannot be trusted and that most people lack self-awareness about their own destructive tendencies.
While most people need around 30 or 40 years to truly understand that the vast majority of humanity is shallow and irredeemable, baby Nathan's convinced that he has seen all that he needs to see. People have been nice and even brought him toys and presents. But the fact is, Nathan knows they're all full of shit.
And in this week's science report, botanists discover trees are all slowly trying to strangle each other. In other news, a fun-loving turtle is all business when it comes to feeding time, and a partygoer rolls a couple of fat burritos to pass around.
This is the Onion News Network.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the Crypto Hour. You're welcome to give us a call at 603-283-6160, or if you want better quality, like you're sitting here in the studio with us, give us a call via Discord, discord.lrn.fm. Moving on with the crypto news, we have a very interesting suggestion from Tanzil Akhtar that a global recession would be good for Bitcoin.
How is that going to work?
Apparently, macro trends suggest that a global economic crisis could be looming. Worries about a global recession, and let's stop to think about that for a minute. A global recession.
Global recession. Yep. Well, that just means that economic growth is shrinking, or excuse me, economic output is shrinking, or I am really not. Something is going on in my head that's my words are not coming out.
Well, you're absolutely correct. It means that, economic production would be shrinking, which should be impossible while the population of the earth is growing.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. I kind of see where they're going with it, but we've already had the economy kind of contracting a little bit over 2018, and all cryptocurrency has done is go straight down.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know where he's getting this from.
Apparently somebody in Discord has linked global warming to affecting LGBTQ youth. I don't know.
You forgot the IA plus something.
Yeah, I did.
No, they did.
But moving on, there are a number of indicators pointing to a potential economic downturn. And I don't think the author here doesn't know what they're talking about or anything like that. I think that it's a sign of how governments control the world and how they can contract their currencies on a whim and cause everything around them to collapse. That's the issue with state-controlled currency.
Well, okay, so like what's happening in Venezuela with everyone, the state currency there has gone to hell and everyone's adopting Dash.
Yeah. Good on them for that. Speaking of Dash, I went to a store today because I needed to get something there anyway, and I was like, okay, well, they have a Bitcoin ATM there. I'll just stop there and buy some Dash.
Is this Corner News?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Great little store. If you're ever in Keene, I would recommend visiting it. So, kill two birds with one stone. Instead of going to the normal one that I do, which is Route 101 Goods, which has a website where you can order the Fa
King Gray t-shirt.
Great.
Now
t-shirts.
Hats.
Yeah, and now hats. So go check them out at route101localgoods.com, I think is the name of their website. But that's the one I normally use when I just want to use an ATM. Of course, there are people nearby that if I really want to buy some conveniently, I can just hit them up. But I was there anyway, and immediately it asked me for identifying information. First, I was turned off that it didn't actually support Dash, which bothered me because that's what I was there to buy. Dash is currently at like $73 each, which is significantly down from its peak of like $890 or so. It may have even broken $1,000.
Yeah, I think it actually did break 1,000.
So it's definitely a time for buyers. I'm buying cryptocurrency every time I get the opportunity to. Of course, I'm also using that cryptocurrency on various things like keeping calltofreedomlive.com up and running.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the very real risk that it is going to continue going downward, and that Bitcoin is going to hit $500, at which point you'll be like, I just lost all this money. But so anyway, it immediately asked me for my cell phone number so it could send me an SMS verification. And of course, I would have declined that. But even if I had gone through with it, it's been relayed to me that it would have requested my ID because the cell phone provider is prepaid.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
I've gotten fed up. I've used Sprint. I've used Verizon. I've never used AT&T. And their prices are exorbitant.
Yeah, I know. People are on prepaid precisely because these carriers are charging so much. And if you want, I mean, T-Mobile, you can end up spending like as little as $8 or $9 a month.
Really? Mine runs me about $60 a month now, but that's
depending on. I mean, if you just like get the very bare bones prepaid service with no data or anything, then
it's about 40% of what I was paying to Verizon. And as far as I could tell, the only benefit of going with a postpaid carrier is that you get the cell phone at a substantially reduced rate. If your credit's good enough.
If your credit's good enough. But you know what, you can still buy the phone outright, but the thing is, phones are getting so expensive these days.
They are. They're like $600-700.
Oh, you haven't priced an iPhone lately, have you?
Well, iPhones are overpriced paperweights.
They're overpriced and overrated, and Apple. So
yeah,
you've got people who will line up around the block.
I would drink a pumpkin spice latte before I got an iPhone.
I've had a pumpkin spice latte. They're
I've never had
bad.
One. Well, I don't think they're bad. I think they have a bad culture around them.
Yeah, it's the people that are. But with the iPhone, it's the walled garden that Apple's put around it.
Yeah.
They've got really good things about them, like Apple privacy, the encryption feature, the hardware encryption that's built into the phone is really good. It's just iOS is.
Yeah, I like being able to use my devices. I like owning and controlling my devices.
Being able to run the software that I want on my device, and I do.
Oh yeah, same here. I've never had an Android phone that I did not root the day of purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I rooted my phone. I've installed Magisk on it, and so the Google Pay still works.
Yeah. My S5 is more customized because it's running a version of CyanogenMod, now known as Lineage. Actually, it's running a version of SlimROMs, which is based off of Lineage, but that's such a beautiful thing. They take the entire operating system and they cut out the crap and reduce it down to like 200 megabytes. And that's the entire operating system versus the 9 gigabytes or whatever stock Android takes up. But
yeah, and then they cut out all the garbage apps that your carrier puts in, like the NFL football or the whatever.
Yeah, the number one reason you should root your phone is to get rid of that crap. Even if you do it manually, rather than installing an operating system that doesn't come with it, which is what I would recommend, just to make sure you get it out there. And Knox, which was co-developed with the NSA, which is the security software that is run on all Android phones that also are capable of running Google Play.
That's a Samsung thing.
Oh, all Samsung phones. That's what I meant. Yeah, you are correct. It was co-developed by the NSA and Samsung, and you should not use it, ever. You should take every precaution possible to get it off of your phone, because it was, in fact, co-produced by the NSA. The same people who, read all of your emails and intercept all of your text messages and
pretty much
all of that good stuff. So that's just one of the ways that you can actually protect yourself from intrusions by the federal government. Another way is to actually encrypt your phone as well as your SD card, because you're not doing yourself any favor if you don't encrypt your SD card. It does make your phone slower to boot up when you encrypt your phone itself, but that's a really small price to pay.
It's a really tiny price to pay. I mean, you have to put in your PIN twice. Big deal.
Yeah. Well, I use a pattern rather than a PIN, but my pattern is complex. It uses all 9 of the little dots, so I'm fine with it. Even though
you have to do your whole
short,
Cthulhu thing to open your phone.
I do. It's less secure than a PIN, or so they say. A PIN, I think, is medium security, and the pattern is low to medium. So I guess if you use all 9 dots and have a complex pattern like I do, then it qualifies as medium.
That's not so bad.
Okay. I never thought about it like that. We've been asked whether I have any advice for rooting a phone. That depends on what kind of phone you're talking about. You're talking about an LG.
Go to the XDA Developers Forum. That is, type in the name of your phone, and anything that anybody knows about that phone will be there.
Yeah, they often create step-by-step guides. If you're having issues with it, I would recommend getting somebody who you can pay to do it.
Yeah, that's also a good idea.
That. Because especially if your carrier is Verizon, you run a very, very high risk of breaking your phone because they do not like rooted devices at all. In fact, mine has technically unrooted itself. I don't care because I've not reinstalled any of their crap, but it is technically no longer rooted, even though I can still use all of my rooted apps like Root Uninstaller, Root Explorer, all of that. So, but it doesn't register as being.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your weekend edition of the Liberty Beat for the week ending January 25th, 2019. Gold opened Friday at $1,285. Silver opened at $15.37. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,544. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Roger Stone, the politically connected maverick who worked as an informal advisor to Donald Trump's presidential campaign, has been indicted as part of special counsel Robert Mueller's probe. Stone has been indicted on 7 counts in connection with Mueller's investigation, including 1 count of obstruction of an official proceeding, 5 counts of false statements, and 1 count of witness tampering. The Hill reports Stone was arrested in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The indictment was filed in federal court in Washington, D.C. on Thursday and then sealed upon arrest on Friday. According to the indictment, Stone obstructed the investigations by the House Intelligence Committee and the FBI into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Facebook plans to integrate its messaging services on Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger. While all three will remain standalone apps, at a much deeper level, there will be links so messages can travel between the different services. Facebook told the BBC it was at the start of a long process. The plan was first reported in the New York Times and is believed to be a personal project of Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. Once complete, the merger would mean that a Facebook user could communicate directly with someone who only has a WhatsApp account. This is currently impossible as the applications have no common core. The New York Times reports the work to merge the three elements has already begun and is expected to be complete by the end of 2019 or early next year. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% on your purchase by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for the week ending January 25th, 2019. Find us online at snls.news. Your news now continues. Bayer AG unit Monsanto has asked a California judge in the litigation over its glyphosate-based weed killer, Roundup, allegedly causing cancer, to limit evidence by splitting an upcoming trial into two phases, a request previously successful with another judge. Reuters reports that Monsanto, in a previously unreported filing on January 15th, asked California Superior Court Judge Winifred Smith in Oakland to split a March trial by a California couple into two phases. Such a step would limit evidence the plaintiffs in the litigation consider crucial to their cases and described as critical to a jury last year, awarding $289 million in a similar case. Under the company's proposal, lawyers for Alva and Alberta Pilliod in the initial trial phase would be barred from introducing evidence that the company allegedly attempted to influence regulators and manipulate public opinion. A hearing on the issue is scheduled for February 8th. A Southern California company is leading the way with a new innovation that makes getting marijuana and CBD products faster and more convenient. Fox 10 in Los Angeles reports that the world's first intelligent cannabis and CBD kiosk, known as Greenbox, is located at Herba Collective and Marina Caregivers dispensaries in Los Angeles. It caters to both recreational and medicinal users. Zach Johnson, CEO of Greenbox Robotics, says he came up with the idea while waiting in a long line at Herba Collective. He and his team spent more than a year developing the fully automated technology. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's easy. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat, online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat for the week ending January 25th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
If you live in Williamsburg, chances are good you've seen them. Giant piles of beard hair rotting in the streets. Don't worry, it just means hipster molting season is here again. Experts say the husks of dead beards don't pose a threat to public safety and are just part of the natural life cycle of these strange organisms.
Once a year, all at the same time, every 20-something urban male sheds his ironic beard to make room for larger, more fanciful facial hair. They need the beards. They're a tough exoskeleton that protects these young people from the non-whimsical realities of life.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says it's the largest molting season on record. In Brooklyn, sanitation crews are working overtime to clean up the loose whiskers the exuviating males have left behind. The affected youth's molting season comes right before their mating season, when the males use their lush beards to impress the local hordes of burlesque females.
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Wait, which?
These are the days of our lives.
Oh, like sands through the hourglass. It's been so long since I actually heard that, though.
I've only ever heard it on the show, I think. But you know what that music means. That music means it is time for something we haven't talked about in a while. The libertarian drama of the week. And boy, have we had some drama.
Oh, yeah.
It hasn't been especially popular drama. I mean, it hasn't been trending in the same way that Arvin Vora's...
You mean there's not been national news about it?
There has not been national news. Unfortunately, there has not been. I'm not 100% sure where to even start.
Well,
I guess I'll start at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so Free Talk Live, which airs at 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at LRN.FM every single day, occasionally does an after show known as Freer Talk Live.
Right.
And because Chris Cantwell is releasing a rebranded show of himself called The Outlaw Conservative, it was decided, let's get him on the show. It'll be good for everyone. And
well,
yeah. And this made a previous co-host of Free Talk Live, Jackie,
very unhappy.
Well, it made her lose her mind. to be totally upfront. It's if you weren't there for it, and not very many people were, only really the Free Talk Live and LRN crew were there through the thick of it, seeing everything as it played out. It's really hard to convey what happened next. What happened next was an absolute, unbridled crap show unfolding right before our very eyes. It was the most epic crap show I have ever seen. Made all the more amazing by the fact that Jackie didn't have anything at all to do with that episode of Freer Talk Live. Like, no. She wasn't on the show. She wasn't in the room.
No, she was outside the window.
Yes. Yes. God, there is so much to cover. After making repeated threats publicly on Facebook about taking a poo on Cantwell's car, which had gotten back to him, but which he ignored because it was pretty clearly an empty threat and not worth, dealing with. I'm sure he gets random inanities like that all the time.
Yeah, you do if you're a Nazi who comes out and publicly says you're an FBI informant.
Yeah.
Which I only found out about that yesterday because I really don't follow this guy. That was the reason I gave for not being willing to poop on his hood. Because I don't want the FBI to have my DNA. That seems like a good idea.
But that came later. First, I was unhappy about a lack of time to challenge Christopher Cantwell. That was between me and Ian. It got worked out the next day. It was totally fine. We handled it in the way that adults do. And that was the end of it. But at some point during this, I was brought up repeatedly for some reason, to the extent that I had to request not to be brought into it. But despite that, it continued on Facebook, the source of all of the drama, realistically. And with me being accused of changing my story to say that Ian had given me his mic. Well, I'm certainly not a liar. So I went to the Telegram chat that I had with this person because she had said, if you really want to push this, I will post our Telegram chats publicly. So I took a screenshot of where I said that night, like an hour after I left the studio, that Ian had given me his mic.
Right.
So there was absolutely no basis for that whatsoever. And I had proven my case that, yes, I did tell you from the start that Ian gave me his mic. I'm not changing anything. You may have missed it the first time in your outrage, which she certainly seems to have done. She is convinced that Christopher Cantwell is a violent psychopath. But it's worth mentioning, this did not prevent her from expressing the desire or the willingness, although it was empty willingness, and I'm going to get back to that in a moment, to go and poop on his hood. Nor did it stop her from banging on the glass out here, calling a great deal of attention to herself, because it was like 11:40 at night. And she's out there banging on the glass and putting her rear end on the glass in an attempt to moon Cantwell.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I only heard about it much later because I was not here for the show.
Yeah. Well, I was, and I had gone out to smoke, and she was out there. She wanted me to come back in and raise the blinds for her. And, of course, I was unwilling to do that. I said, you can message Ian or Johnson and ask one of them to, but I'm having no part in this. Why don't you, I even offered to let her, why don't you come in there and challenge him on the mic? And the reason she gave wasn't that she was scared of him or anything like that. It was that she would punch him, right?
Oh, so she would punch him.
Yeah, so there was no fear through any of this, right? But then suddenly, it spiraled into this catastrophically horrific crap show with her in the Free Talk Live host room just going totally off the rails on Ian, accusing him of, playing the long con effectively and duping all of us into believing he was a libertarian when he was actually a secret Nazi, and now he's trying to woo the alt-right, and it was totally bat-crap insanity.
It is.
Yeah. And remember, this is all because Chris Cantwell came on an episode of Free Talk Live. So
that was not even part of the Free Talk Live show. It was like internet only after the show. Just the thing about these shows, I've done a couple of the after shows myself. It's a completely different format. The flow is different.
It's drastically different. Yeah, for
much
sure.
different. I mean, I could not talk about gay sex on Free Talk Live and get away with it.
But you can on Call to Freedom.
You can on Call to Freedom. But
But how could you not when I'm a co-host here? It seems to always get mentioned up. In fact, this is one of the rare days that it hasn't been brought up by somebody somewhere for some reason.
Well, yeah, it has now because I did.
True.
But
one of the criticisms she raised was that, Free Talk Live, technically it does borrow from the credibility of Free Talk Live.
That's a valid criticism.
Yeah, it was. So Ian changed the name so that it no longer had any ties whatsoever to Free Talk Live. You would expect if that was her actual criticism, then it would have died at that point. But oh my God, it did not. In fact, after changing it, it was again mentioned that he was trying to borrow credibility from Free Talk Live in order to promote a Nazi, even though he had relented and changed the title at her request.
Yeah, I could not figure out why one followed the other. It just was not making sense to me.
So this continued for an entire day of this. Like, I woke up that morning. Well, it wasn't that morning at that point. It was like 2 in the afternoon. But I woke up and found like 260-something unread messages in the Free Talk Live host Telegram room, which is generally for show prep.
Right.
So it just became this absolute mess and was renamed to Jackie's crap show room or something like that.
Yeah, Ian decided to just abandon the room.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have any choice at that point. Some people have criticism saying, well, he didn't handle like adult, but he did attempt to. It's just that he wasn't left any option. And eventually, when you got somebody yelling and screaming at you like that, all you can do is poke the bear, throw fuel on the fire and let it burn itself out. So that's what he did. And Vincent of Not Quality Assurance, it's actually called Questioning Authority.
Questioning Authority.
Made Jackie into the NPC meme. And they changed that to the image for the chat room.
Oh.
And then Christopher Cantwell was added to the Telegram chat.
Oh.
And we're about to go out to break, but stay tuned because there is so much more. We haven't even
Things got really
to it
crazy after that.
Yeah. Funny. It got funny again after that, but then it went crazy again. So stay tuned. We'll get back into that here in a minute on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Yes, I was actually introduced to In This Moment at work. I had never heard of them prior to that, and this was the first song by them that I heard, and I was extremely impressed by it. They are currently in my top 5 favorite artists. They do need better musicians, but the singer is exceptionally good. Back to the drama. We left off right at the good part. Right when it started getting just from garbage fire to garbage nuke, realistically. I mean, it just got totally out of control at that point because, as I said, Cantwell was added to the Telegram chat. At which point he clicked Jackie's name and sent her a direct message.
Oh.
Which caused Jackie to accuse Ian of giving him her contact information.
Yeah, sicking a violent psychopath on her.
Yes, that is the word she used.
That's the word she used.
Over and over. Even though it's not in any sense true, all he had to do was click her picture and hit the message icon.
Right.
But the first thing he said when he entered was, "Hi, stupid effing thought. You crap on my car, I will plug you with my AR-15. And then there wasn't a great deal. I mean, he said his usual stuff. She's a good example of why women shouldn't be allowed to vote or speak. Like whatever value women bring to the equation is not offset by the horrors of letting Jackie exist. Interesting part. What's Jackie's cell phone number? Ian, I think that would be inappropriate to share. Chris, well, my DMs are open. I would assume at some point between those two messages is when he clicked her name and sent her one. Now, notably absent from this is Jackie's responses. But I was at work at the time, so I didn't have a great deal of time to actually dive into it. But I saw that Chris Cantwell had been added, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be back here messing on my phone the rest of the night. Just be prepared for that. So I pointed out that I'd crap on his hood, but he's an informant, and I don't want the feds to have my DNA. Then, rightfully, I pointed out I'm also not willing to do that, but that's beside the point. To which Ian, because by then, of course, again, it's just a garbage fire. We're laughing and we're throwing fuel on it because there's nothing else we can do about it.
Right.
Ian says Aria's into scat. So I said, shh, don't reveal my secrets. Ian's right. It would be a waste of perfectly good scat. And then, again, I pointed out, for the interest of my reputation, I'm joking, as is Ian, and have zero interest in scat. I don't.
Yeah, I think I said I was so disappointed.
And then Ian screenshotted where I said, as I mentioned earlier on Twitch, that my boyfriend is Jewish. He said, this explains so much. To which I said, we're conspiring to undermine your social order, one free human being at a time. Don't worry, Chris. I'm poly and can make room for the right man. With a heart emoticon. We are going to get gay married, adopt Jew babies, and raise them to hate the white man, because I hear that's the latest hot trend. To which Cantwell replied, you'll commit suicide long before you have the opportunity to influence a next generation. So I added, I could also tear gas someone and spend some time in federal pound me in the butt prison. That's an Office Space reference. If you've never seen Office Space, you should watch it. Hashtag life goals. Then he said, I hope your boyfriend is a top because that penis is going to stop working even if you don't cut it off. I say, he's a top. Why? Are you looking to be topped? All right. You're not even amusing. Just sad. Suicide is the only thing you idiots are good for. Later, kids. Chris Cantwell left the group.
Yep.
So Jackie never got the opportunity to respond within the Telegram chat, unfortunately. But she did read it and she did enjoy it. And she characterized it on Facebook as me sexually harassing the Nazi until he went away. And I'm okay with that characterization. And you would think that, Chris Cantwell left, the crap show would be over.
You'd think.
But it was not. And I can't even explain why it kept going, because I don't think anybody understands why it kept going beyond that. But it did. The next thing we knew, Jackie had quit Free Talk Live. Actually, Jackie quit before Cantwell was added to the group.
Right.
She quit like immediately the next day. So that was how that order of events actually happened. Sorry about that. I mean, there's so many aspects to this that it's easy to forget some little detail like that. So she quit Free Talk Live, which is not a little detail. I just neglected to mention it. And then decided that she couldn't stay where she was in a nice one-warm duplex renting from Ian because
that she just moved into a week ago.
Just moved into
or a week before.
Yeah, after adopting 2 cats, and there's a reason I'm mentioning the cats, and we'll get back to them in a moment. So they moved in for like a week, and then decided that because Chris Cantwell had been there, they couldn't trust Ian any longer. He was giving out their contact information, and so they had to move.
Jackie decided Jackie couldn't trust Ian anymore.
Yeah, so they get some anonymous donor, some anonymous libertarian donor, to give them like $300, I think it was, for them to stay in a hotel room for the weekend. And remember, this is all over nothing. Like nothing happened. But they're in a hotel room. And because they were going to have to leave the hotel room, Chris Reitman of Free Talk Live said, look, I don't want you to have to deal with that during this blizzard. So I'm going to pay for this extra night of the room for you after that, because Jackie had repeatedly stated she would rather live in the bus than under Ian's property, I guess.
House, yeah.
So she moved out of Ian's duplex into the hotel room and then into a bus behind Chris Reitman's business, Route 101 Goods, which is, again, located at route101goods.com. And if you think we're done, we're not.
We're nowhere near done.
No, we are about halfway through the drama at this point, and it just kept going. But here's where it really went off the rails into something that became truly magical. Because, regrettably, all of this, it obviously had an effect on her boyfriend and his relationship with the rest of the Free Talk Live crew.
That it did.
And that's not something we're going to spend any time whatsoever talking about because it's regrettable, it's unfortunate, and it doesn't make anybody happy. But he, Daryl Perry, was asked to resign. And he did, and resigned on amicable terms. It was reported. So
what else can you do?
Yeah, so let's end off with that, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, Is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Catch the Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our Bit Plus Network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN FM.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we have been discussing the unusually large load of drama that has been going on in this little community of libertarians and anarchists the last week. And yes, actually, I think it's going on
still
11 days now. Oh, yeah, and it's still ongoing. So, but okay, we left off with Daryl resigning from a managerial role at Free Talk Live. To be clear, he was not stepping down from Free Talk Live itself for co-hosting. He was just stepping down from being a manager of the show.
Right. At least that's what I understood.
Yeah.
That's what the email that went out to all the Free Talk Live listeners said.
Yeah. So Chris Reitman, in explaining this to some of the amplifiers who on the Facebook page, said something to the effect of, Jackie was Daryl's responsibility. And she'd become like a bomb that was detonating, and he was the one who brought the bomb into the room, which was somehow interpreted by Jackie to mean that he said Daryl deserved to be fired. Because that's been the word thrown around anytime she's had to reference it. And whether being asked to resign qualifies as being fired or not, yeah, sure, let's not split that hair, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's fair to characterize it as a firing. If you refuse to resign and they fire you, then they fire you.
Right.
But if you refuse to resign, you're putting them in that position, and okay, then you could say he was fired. But that aside, he was still on Free Talk Live. The relationship between Daryl and the Free Talk Live people was going on relatively normally until Jackie took to Facebook again. For those keeping track, that's like the 47th time on this topic alone, to publicly criticize Chris Reitman, who, if you'll remember from some of the details we mentioned in the previous segment, was allowing them to use their electricity, their bathroom, their heat, and their property to park the bus behind. So she's living on this dude's property using his electricity, and he had paid for them to have a hotel room. And she took to Facebook to criticize him for saying that Daryl deserved to be fired and accused him of being financially beholden to Ian and other general garbage nonsense.
And I read some of this, and Chris is like, you took one message out of context out of a whole thread.
Yeah, well, that's what she's been doing. Because at one point I said, as far as I know, Jackie has never been on Freer Talk Live. And I
think she was once.
Yeah, she was. She was the one who came up with the name as well.
Right.
But she took the opportunity to correct me by quoting me and leaving out the part where I said, as far as I know. Not stating it to be unequivocal fact, stating it on the basis of my limited knowledge of the subject. So in her quoting, she deliberately left out that little qualifier, and she's been doing that repeatedly. So she starts criticizing Chris on Facebook. So, by this point, I had detached from her. I was like, you're doing your own thing over there. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with me. And I pointed out to her, I was like, this is a really crappy show of gratitude for this dude who's letting you use his stuff. But it didn't end there. What happened next? Oh, well, she continued all throughout the night. And remember, I stay up pretty late. So she was on Facebook doing this at like 4 o'clock in the morning while Daryl was asleep, who, according to her, was so distraught, or rather depressed by what Chris had said, that he just went to sleep, which may or may not be true. I don't know. None of us really have a lot of contact with Daryl these days. It's almost like his girlfriend is a manipulative, controlling psychopath who has carefully isolated him from everyone who cares about him.
Yeah, that's
almost like that.
We've hardly heard from Daryl at all since this started.
Yeah, it's to the extent where, and again, this is the sad part that we're really going to avoid, where somebody wanted to message Daryl and they're not even sure that the message would reach him.
Yeah, at this point, we really are not sure.
So after being criticized publicly by this woman whose property he is allowing her to use, Chris said, I want you guys out of there by 10 o'clock in the morning because I don't trust you to have access to my building and my property because you're nuts. There's no telling what you will do. And so they left. They left Keene. But that has not stopped them, evidently, from being on Facebook talking about it. Well, it has not stopped Jackie.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not stopped Jackie. We've hardly heard from Daryl at all on Facebook since, and that's unusual. I mean, he hasn't even posted about running or anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the loss of Daryl is a tragic byproduct of this fiasco. I think fiasco is an appropriate word.
Fiasco might be an understatement.
Yeah, it's inadequate, sure. And so that's been the Libertarian Drama. You can check it out directly on Facebook by just searching for Jackie, whose last name, out of decency, I'm not going to mention, but if you've listened to Free Talk Live before, I'm sure you know her last name. Or Daryl Perry, and find her through him.
Yeah, she's not hard to find, and all these posts are public too. Yeah. I mean, they're shared with the world.
Oh, she's trying to get attention to it. I mean, it's no longer about Ian. It's not about Chris Cantwell. It's not about me. It's not about Freer Talk Live. It's about her, and it has been since at least the day after the show. It is, if you have a few hours to kill, it is well worth trying to trudge through the drama, and even doing that, you're going to miss out on a lot of it because a lot of it was restricted to the Jackie
Telegram,
Crap Show prep room. Parts of it have been hilarious. Parts of it have just been absolutely tragic.
I'm just sad,
Yeah. And parts of it have just been so mind-bogglingly stupid that one has to marvel that it's happened at all. Because remember, this is all a consequence of her saying she wanted to poop on this dude's car, and his warning to her that if she
that has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. It's all about Chris Cantwell coming on the show in the studio. That's what it's all about. And Ian lied about it.
But he didn't lie
Ian
about
lied
anything.
about his motivations. That's what she said.
He said that from the beginning. he said from the beginning that the reason that Chris was coming on is because he had a new show coming out. So, yeah.
There you go.
So keep in mind that if you do search it out on Facebook, where the bulk of her posts about it are, you will get an extremely one-sided story.
Yep, totally one-sided.
That everyone else involved in it has publicly refuted, often with evidence and proof to the contrary.
You know, there's a trick to catching a liar. It's really simple. You believe what they say, and eventually the liar will contradict themselves.
Yeah.
And then you just focus on the contradiction and go from there, and they will eventually just hang themselves.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of our friends is being hung in the process.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. Daryl really did not deserve any of this.
No, he didn't. There's zero chance that they're listening to this, or we'd already be being tagged on Facebook and being criticized publicly for it. But Daryl, if you are listening, we love you, and you'll always be welcome back. That was the longest libertarian drama in the history of the segment. But stay tuned for the cannabis news coming up in just a few minutes.
Hopefully that'll be good news.
Yeah, we'll find something positive. And of course, we do have Rev on the line who wants to talk. So during the break, I'll find out what it is he wants to talk about, because we do have to get into the cannabis news and end with a lighter note for you to go into your weekend. We don't want to leave you with that horrible garbage fire, even though parts of it are pretty good. But stay tuned here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm, I think you'll like it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think excuse me?
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We normally do our Cannabis News Hour segment here, but I actually checked, and there's not a great deal happening as far as cannabis goes. And we had a caller on the line, Rev, who is a somewhat regular caller, who wanted to bring up some things that he wasn't able to earlier because I kind of put him on hold for 40 minutes while we got into the drama. So what's up, Rev? How are you doing today?
I am glad to be with you guys today, hon. Normally, Radical Agenda's on, but they were having some technical difficulties, so here I am. Originally, when I heard the first hour, I want to talk about like Abe Lincoln and the transgender military ban, but screw that. This is too much fun. So I was one of the pot stirrers, and a great shout out to see how we kind of made a big, how we had a lot of fun with this big spectacle, is if you guys go on YouTube under Shire Free Media, which is Vincent's thing, and he posted that NPC picture of her next to Cantwell, and it was a call that I totally did not do, impersonating Jackie about her being overweight and ugly and an Antifa member and wanting to defecate on people's cars or be in a mental institution cutting herself. So I'd like to think that without cursing, as let's just say a word that begins with a C and may end with a Y, as I am, that we had a lot of fun. But real quickly, the big thing, too, Aria, you did a great job of comprehensively describing this. And, I mean, you're there in Keene, and you saw all this stuff, you know. But the one thing that and you tried not to get involved. Like, I can say even I was arguing with Aria, like, why are you, I mean, you know, it's whatever. But I just felt like the character of the, whatever. I got to condense this. Listen.
I disassociated from her. When she started in on Chris, I told her straight up that I was removing her from my friends list, and I did.
Yeah. That's the gay guy, right? Chris?
No.
Not Cantwell, the other Chris.
No, that's Chris Wade.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what
he hosts Call to Freedom on Tuesdays.
Okay.
With us.
Okay, but the point is this other Chris that's not Cantwell offered these people a place to stay, and I do kind of feel bad for Daryl. I know almost nothing about Daryl. I just know he was a big part of you guys' production and a good friend of Ian's and Mark's for a long time.
Daryl is what the government calls collateral damage.
Yeah, definitely. He's the hospital of orphans that got blown up, taking out that ISIS base next door. Anyway, but the thing is, so real quick, one thing that escalated this so badly, and look, it doesn't matter what the lady's appearance is, because she could be smoking hot and be an A blank 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 hole, you know, but she wasn't, so that kind of gave us, those of us in the far right, and then the Nazis and the alt-right people in Cantwell's crew on the Telegram group, suddenly, you know, her docs started showing up and LinkedIn and all this and that. But I want to make it clear, no matter how bad the Nazis were, they did not threaten to do anything to her. However, there was evidence. I'm not on Facebook personally, but I saw the pictures, and there's evidence, real quick, Aria, that she was, yes, she did say to defecate on his car, but her followers or some of her friends on there, some of these you-know-what holes were threatening to shoot Chris Cantwell and take his life. And at that point, it became, okay, here's what this pig wants to do to me. Hey, gentlemen, have at it. Because, yeah, dude, so that's the thing, everybody. It wasn't just, yes, Chris is a D blank, blank, blank CK head in a good way. That's why we love him. That's our Cantwell. But Chris does not threaten people's lives. He doesn't take the stuff this far. Even you and him with the friendly rivalry, he's never going to dox you or nothing because he knows you'd never do that to him. So I'll shut up. But, yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that... Yeah.
No, I think that's a critical aspect of this that has gotten lost in the fray because, I mean, it's no longer about me whatsoever, but I was literally on the mic that night challenging Cantwell. I literally got on the mic and told him he was a despicable human being to his face.
That was great. Yeah.
And I have not been doxxed. I have not been threatened. I have not had to leave my home in the middle of the night. And it's because I did not escalate this to the point of absolute insanity.
Right.
One gets back what one puts in, I think, is the important message here for everybody, is that she got from Ian what she gave to Ian.
And also, if I may say, listen, it wasn't even that the people, the radical agenda fans and all that were like, yeah, screw her, mess with her life. Like with Antifa pieces of garbage, some of us have no issue doing that, but that's just because they've done it to any of us on the right wing for so long. That's a different story. That's where you get a lot of the talk about putting them in wood chippers and stuff live, hypothetically, of course. But the thing with this Jackie lunatic is that, listen, if this lady had such an aversion to any controversial racial talk or anything like that, that's understandable. Okay, if you feel so insulted and such a moral high grounder, you-know-what hole, that you have to disassociate from and lash out at everybody in your life that's helping you professionally, financially, or with a home, whatever it is, like with Ian and you guys, then you know what? You have bigger problems than being an SJW, like you said.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that sentiment. There are a lot of aspects to this that make one wonder what is really going on, what is really the cause of all of this.
Yeah, I think there's still stuff that's going on behind the scenes that we haven't found out about yet.
And we probably won't ever, you know.
Well, I just want to shout out again, Shire Free Media, shameless plug. I'm not me. I mean, Jackie ends up singing a cover of that old Night Shift song by the Commodores, which is a beautiful song. And at the end, it's like, gonna be lots of broken trust, living in a bus, cause of Nazis. And then at the very end, it's like, with 68 IQ, Somalis. Dude, poor Vincent, I thought this boy was gonna like have an aneurysm. He was trying not to laugh. Even Ian was cracking up. But real talk, I am sorry that happened to you guys, you know, to Daryl. But, you know, at the same time, man, it's like you have to understand if a cancerous lard tumor is attaching itself to you and trying to destroy your life, you need to excise that thing, hun. You know? So he let this go on, too.
You do, but
whatever.
It's not that easy. I've lived with a psychopath, and she did these same sorts of things. She attempted to gaslight me. What she didn't count on was that I was well more grounded in reality than she anticipated.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you guys the last few minutes to end on a light note. Sorry to cut you off on, but I'm going to get off here. But hey, I can't wait I can't wait till you, Vincent, and hopefully Cantwell or whatever. So, like, you got to go on questioning authority, man. I'm telling you, Vincent's the golden child. Shouts to Ian. I'll be sending a little donation soon by mail there. All right, take care, guys.
All right, take care. Have a good weekend.
This was supposed to be a cannabis segment. Do we have any cannabis news?
There is nothing
see
in the
anything
way of
cross my
cannabis.
desk today.
No. The same stuff. I mean, we can rehash some of it, really, like pain relief and cannabis with Dr. Moskowitz, but we already know this. We've already talked about it. That's been the disappointing thing as I've checked on Leafly lately. It's also happening with news.bitcoin.com, which is just the cryptocurrency news. It's stuff that people are writing because there's really nothing happening.
Is it just a slow news month then?
Probably. I mean, it's January.
Well,
so
yeah, it's January.
A lot of people are, I guess, just not interested. A lot of people hate the Patriots, and I found out that
which Patriots?
The New England Patriots.
Oh, the football team. Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I found out about this is because suddenly my newsfeed was filled from people talking about how much they hated the Patriots. So I inferred from that the Patriots were going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. I think they are playing the Rams.
And I heard the usual allegations of cheating and all of that.
Tom Brady is cheating. Yeah, that's popped up a couple times in Facebook. So.
I mean, I wonder at these people who are so invested in this kind of thing that they really care about it.
This is just, my whole thing about sports is that it's just a proxy for the sort of tribalism that we see in like the Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, and when
people
you really
have their
break it
favorite
down,
team, and sometimes it doesn't even matter what the.
Well, I get people rooting for their home team. I get
Right.
that. It's your area, but it's your culture, especially in regard to colleges. But with national recruitment, it no longer really applies. You have people
you're
going to Mississippi
you're raised
State.
Democrat, you're raised Patriots,
But a player, what it ultimately comes down to is we're not rooting for the players we like. The Patriots fans would absolutely hate Tom Brady if he went to the 49ers or whoever.
Well, of course, they consider it treason.
Yeah, so it's not about the players. It's not about any kind of loyalty to the location, which we know because of colleges being flooded with players not from that area, nobody seeming to mind, or the Patriots being filled with players who are not from New England.
Right.
What it ultimately comes down to is that people are rooting for the uniforms. That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's just jingoist tribalism.
That's sports.
Yeah.
This has been Call to Freedom.
On LRN, stay tuned. Free Talk Live is coming up next.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast,